In this exercise, I'd like to review the different properties that make up a ramp. Now we can find ramps underneath architecture and ramp. And when we execute on the ramp command, over here underneath properties, we'll see that we have two different ramp types. One is ramp type 2 and the other is ramp type 1. Well, I'm going to start off with ramp 1 and then select on edit. When we do, we'll see the type properties that make up this kind of ramp. Through here, we can see that the ramp itself has a thickness of only 3 inches. If we wanted to adjust this and make it thicker, we could just click inside of the box and type in a different dimension. We can also see that there's a maximum incline length, which means this ramp can only get to be a maximum of 30 feet long before it'll stop getting drawn out. As a result of that, you're not going to have these massively long ramps unless you click in here and tell it a different dimension. The material that makes up the ramp, right now it lists as being by category, but you could always click inside there and click on the dot, find the material properties and pick a different kind of material property for that ramp. And then toward the very bottom of this dialog box, it's another category called Other. And that includes the slope that's going to be associated with the ramp, as well as what style of ramp is it going to be. And when I say style, we're talking about the shape of the ramp, and is it just going to be a thick ramp, or is it going to be a solid ramp? The difference between thick and solid is this. I'm going to start off by clicking on OK. Now, over here it says base level, and that means that right now it's going to go from level 1 all the way on up to level 2. Level 2 is like 10 feet in the air. So as a result of that, this ramp would be just enormous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this top level to be level 1, but for the offset, it's just going to be something fairly subtle. I'm just going to make it be 3 feet tall. I'm going to click in here. Now I'm going to click once, and now start to draw in this direction. Once I get out this far, I'm going to click, and this is going to be how long that I make my ramp. From here, I'm going to click on the big green check mark. It's still telling me that even at only 3 foot, this ramp is still not long enough to make it, and that's based on the rules that showed up underneath edit type and how much of a slope this ramp could have. But for right now, and just demonstration purposes, I'm going to leave it the way that it is. I'm going to close that warning box down, and now I want to look at this in an elevation view. In this case, I'm going to come in here to the project browser, and I'm going to open up the east elevation, and we can take a look at the ramp. It also added some railing to the side of the ramp. This is just your typical Revit railing that can be swapped out with a different type of railing if you want it to, or just highlight on it and delete it. The ramp right now is highlighted in blue, and if we wanted to change any of those type properties, such as coming in here to properties, we could. We would just need to go into edit type and then make our changes here. Now, the thing that I wanted to show you was this, where it had thick, and we could see if I pull this off the screen for a moment, and it happens to be 3 inches in thickness. Well, we could also change this to be solid instead. And if we clicked on solid, clicked on OK, now this is just a solid ramp going from here all the way on to the top. You can draw in the shape that you'd like your ramp to be. You can tell the overall length of what that ramp should be. It's going to follow rules that we can find underneath the type properties of the ramp, including what the slope should be for this type of ramp. And you can tell it what the material properties would be, as well as what kind of shape should this ramp have.